Okay guys, let's roll. I've got my helmet on. Why? I'm going to be talking about things. I got my badges, got my vape stick. Putting this video out for Mel. I've kept her waiting long enough. Okay Mel, this is for you. What are we going to be talking about, guys? We're going to be talking about self-defense. Yeah, everyone needs to know how to be able to defend themselves. Even I can defend myself for a short period of time. Anyhow, let's get on with it, Paul. Green Arrow. Don't call yourself Paul anymore. Don't want to be mixed up with that fake Paul. You know, the fake plastic Paul. I'm the real deal. Okay, let's have a look. Here we are, guys. Sam, I've been asked to find out what the law is on self-defense in a person's home for a video I may or may not make. Can you assist? Of course I can, Paul, and this is actually a very good subject to get right because there's a lot of myth mixed in with truth. Let me walk you through it. Let me get the scroll there. Self-defense in your home. UK law. Legal foundation. In the UK, self-defense is mainly governed by common law, long-standing legal principles, the Criminal Law Act 1967, the Crime and Courts Act 2013. Core principle, you are allowed to use reasonable force to defend yourself, defend others, protect your property, prevent a crime. Special rule, household defense. If someone breaks into your home, the law gives you more leeway than in public. You can use force that is reasonable or disproportionate, but not grossly disproportionate. Who decides what's disproportionate? We'll see. That's the key phrase. What does that actually mean? Allowed. Acting in the heat of the moment, using more force than you might outside your home, making a quick judgment under stress. Example, hitting an intruder with an object to stop them. Not allowed. Revenge or punishment after the threat has passed. Excessive violence. Example, continuing to attack someone who is already restrained or unconscious. What the court considers. If it ever came to court, they would look at what you honestly believed was happening, whether your reaction was instinctive, the level of threat you faced, whether the force used was grossly disproportionate. Important concept, honestly held belief. Honestly held belief. You are judged by what you genuinely believed at the time, even if you were mistaken. Examples, if you thought the intruder had a weapon, that belief matters. No duty to retreat, but you are not required to run away from your own home. That's important. However, if you had a clear chance to avoid violence and didn't take it, it may be considered. What about weapons? This is where people get caught out. You can use whatever is at hand, but arming yourself in advance or using something excessive can count against you. Example, grabbing a kitchen pan, likely reasonable. Setting traps or preparing weapons, risky legally. Real world tone of the law. Despite what people often say, the law does recognize fear, panic, split-second decisions. But it draws a hard line at punishment, loss of control beyond necessity. Right. Sam is suggesting now something that I say. Pause, Paul. Right. Now this is where it gets tricky, guys. You know the law there now, but what could actually happen? Well, you could have a crossbow. I know lots of people who have crossbows, hand crossbows as well. They are deadly, yeah. They might not like you using that, even though, oh, and by the way, you're going to have to register crossbows. They've changed in the law. So, a bit like shotguns, you have to register to own one. Yeah, they might not like that, But it depends. Would you rather face a jury of 12 men or be carried by 6? That's an option. There are other things you could have. I don't know. Let's, for example, imagine that you like paintballing. Yeah. There are tools on the internet that you can buy quite legally. It's not illegal, for example, to own a paintball gun. And some of these are very, very powerful. And you don't just have to use paintballs. There's a variety of different projectiles you can buy to go into the chambers. Yeah. Some of them are pretty nasty. I don't think the law would be overly happy if you were defending yourself with one of these, but it depends. How old are you? Would I use one if push come to shove? Yes, I probably would. Although I do like cold steel, to be honest. They don't like it up 'em. But anyhow, let's go have a look at something that you can buy quite legally in this country for around about £100. Shall we? Hit pause, Paul. I'll leave a link to this in the description. Okay, this guy's going to talk about one of the best available on the market. After you've watched it, if you search on YouTube, you can see the kind of damage that they can do, alternatives or even more powerful things. But why I selected this particular video is it also explains the law about the power of output for the weapon that is legal in this country, which is 7.5 joules. You can actually buy them at up to 11 joules, very super powerful. And for those inclined, you can increase the output by using just a simple screwdriver. And you can find out how to do that on the internet. Okay, let's have a look, shall we?
It's improved and it's no longer controversial. It's the Gen 2 TR50 from the T4E range from Umarex. Hello and welcome to AAR on Air. This week is the launch of the new TR50 from Umarex. It's the Gen 2 version of the old HDR. It's still part of the Training for Engagement series, but this time it's called a tactical revolver. They have made a few subtle changes to the TR50, and the first one is the box, because the previous one upset some people. But who knows, maybe this one is the wrong shade of blue. Yes, this paintball revolver is known as the TR50, but it's had more than a change of name, and they've taken the opportunity to give it a bit of a workover. I have the HDR50L with me today to try to show the changes, but I must stress that the HDR50L is no longer available in this format. It's here just so you can see the differences. From the initial quick look, it doesn't appear to have changed much, but the closer you look, the differences become more apparent. You see, this has an improved CO2 system fitted, and the internals have been changed along with the screw on the bottom of the grip. It still has the really useful and excellent system of striking the bottom of the screw to activate the CO2 that's on board, so that it isn't sat loaded with a CO2 in your drawer, and when you bring it out to use it, you find it's leaked all the CO2 out of it, and it's pretty useless and needs a new cartridge loading before you can use it. It's simply a case of dropping a 12-gram CO2 into the bottom of the grip once you've unscrewed the retaining screw on the bottom that doubles up as that strike area. Drop that CO2 in bottom first. Return the screw and hand tighten. There is no need to use any hex key or other tools. Indeed, there isn't a hex key provided anymore. Once you need it to be charged up, simply strike the bottom and the CO2 will be pierced, and the red indicator where the hammer would normally be will pop out to show you're live. Incidentally, this is also a good indicator of how much CO2 is still in the revolver, because this can be depressed with your thumb. If it's running quite low, it can be used to empty the remainder of the setup has been added, with a single on the front and a double to the rear. This makes a huge difference. It is in the trigger, a little like the Glocks. But the main safety is simply not to strike the CO2 until you're ready. 6-round, 50 caliber magazine capability, which can be used for all sorts of ammo, including paintballs, naturally. It can also use the heavier, harder hitting rubber balls, which I've got here, and they can indeed be reused until they become a bit oval shaped. Then they're not so reusable. You can also have the frangible ammo that dust out white powder for that more interactive effect. They even have light up tracer ammo for the nighttime fun. The revolver is essentially the same size as its predecessor, which means it will use the old magazines, and more importantly, the T40 holster, which is fantastic with its click release system and the spare mag holder built in. So, what power does this little thumper kick out? Well, this is naturally going to depend on the ammunition you're using, but using those 50 cal rubber balls that tip the scales at 18 grains, it saw 374 feet per second over the chronograph, which equates to 5.5 foot-pounds or 7.5 joules. So not to be sniffed at, and nicely within the UK limits for pistols. Oh, and did I say how loud this is? I think it's time to have a little fun with the new TR50. Remember, this isn't any form of target or pest control revolver. It's a practice gun and is intended to get you trained in the use of firearms at a much reduced cost. Let's go and have some fun with it. Finger release holster. I really like this. They're really good quality. That's the genuine one. And they've made quite a few improvements, as I've said, with the sights, with the grip, with a new piercing system on board as well. So terrific improvement. It's still the same 50 caliber, which means you've got some hard hitting. We've already seen how much power these things can kick out. Don't be tempted to go for the 11 one, the 11 joules, not legal in this country. Right, what am I going to shoot? The first thing I'm going to shoot is some stainless steel discs. You can see the size of these things. I'm going to have a go at these, see if we can make any kind of impression. Let's have a go, shall we? Strike that bottom. Out comes the indicator where the hammer would normally be. It is really breezy and we're firing big ammunition through this, so let's see how we go. I'll probably try and wait for it to calm just a little. Let's have a go, shall we? Oh, nothing wrong with that. Six rounds. Let's go and have a look at the results, shall we? That's the plate. If I can get the angle right, it'll show up. The pound pump action will make far more of a dent in that, because that's a 68 cal. So, some power behind these. Paintballs this time, shall we? This wind, but let's give it a go. All the six gone down there, and the good news is, for those who are bothered, that is biodegradable. If I left that out, I love these things, I really love them. Hard wearing, heavy grade polymer. That's it, back to the studio. Like I said, excellent fun, but be warned, these do pack a serious punch, as can be seen by the dents they left in the stainless steel plate. They do come in different power levels. This is the sub 7.5 joules version, which is the only legally acceptable one in the UK without a Section 5 firearms licence. And unless you're police or military, you're not going to get one of those, or likely to have one. So I'd steer clear of the 11 joule version here in Blighty. Oh, and don't be tempted with half of the more exotic ammo that's likely to be frowned upon too. So, what is all this newness going to cost you? Well, they're currently retailing out at around £135 UK, which I consider to be very cheap for something so well made and so much fun. And don't forget, you can reuse some of the ammo.
Okay guys, I think there you have it. I've discharged my duty. If you ask for something, I'll do it. It's a reasonable price for peace of mind. There are videos out there showing the kind of damage that you can do with them. And would it stop someone? Yeah, probably. I'm not going to talk about the kind of damage it does. You can go onto YouTube and look for yourself. And yes, there is a more exotic ammunition that you can purchase for it. And there are also, if you wanted to make it more powerful, you could, but you might get into trouble later down the road if you had to use it to defend yourself. Yeah, they might say, well, that wasn't self-defense. Okay guys, let's go back to our lovely bunker, is there? Yeah, so know the law. I've shown you the law. Yeah, what would I do? Well, I know what I would do, but what you do is up to you. Okay guys, you've been listening to Paul Morris, The Green Arrow. See you on the next one.